That's music to a lot of puppy dog and kitty cat ears. I just, real quick, a couple more points on this. We talked about how some of these animals will still keep coming in whether or not we have the contracts. People do misinform us purposely. Oh, I found it on Douglas. It was in Midwest city limits, et cetera. So just kind of keeping that in mind, the problem will still exist whether or not we have the contracts. And I kind of look at this as an opportunity that, if we do retain some of these contracts, could we possibly look at earmarking the funding that does come from that to go into our adoption program so that we could increase adoptions? Let's pretend here we take the 13K from fiscal year 16 or 17. What was that? Goodness. But for the last fiscal year that they generated from the contracts, that money, if it were invested into our current adoption program, which is pretty small, to make it more robust, where staff could utilize overtime to go and do adoption events on their weekend time, or other community events to get animals and have more exposure with the trailer. It's just they don't have the time to go out and do it with their current staffing. But if that money were to be invested into it to try to help create more space, it's just kind of a concept here, trying to think outside the box of how we can make this work for us, more long term.
As we are too, Ms. Hawken, the contracts that we currently have in place last year only generated about $12,000 total.
Correct.
So as far as reinvesting it into the shelter, that's exactly what we've been. It goes into the daily overall operation costs of the shelter. So the revenue that's generated by those contracts isn't that great. So we still find ourselves in a quandary. We still have to operate day to day. We're not recouping the amount that it costs us day to day. And that was, I think, from the last council meeting, that was the biggest concern, was that we were not recouping the actual cost of what it costs to house an animal. So we are doing that, but it doesn't get far beyond the day-to-day operational costs of the shelter.
But that's not money that you all budget for each year for the operations of the shelter, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's calculated as part of our general fund revenues.
Okay. So just next year.
And goes into the general fund and then is divided up between, three different departments: the general fund, the police, and the fire.
Okay.
And
So it's not actually earmarked for the shelter.
no,
okay.
it is not.
All right. What I was just throwing out an idea to earmark it for the adoption program at the shelter
And we
to
have,
make it more robust.
And we have done that to a certain extent with any fines and penalties associated with animal issues. Those are earmarked and go into the, I think it's the Animals Best Friend Fund of the city.
Super.
So I say this. Now, even though we are terminating the contracts, we are actually extending the contracts till what, December 2007?
No, we're terminating the contract as of December 31st.
Okay.
And we're gauging on whether or not we go forward with the contract on their participation, their cooperation with us on further planning a community shelter where all of us come together in cooperation to put together a shelter.
So
then we'll go from there.
So does the other cities understand this? Have they been?
What's the letter?
There was a letter that went out. It was
When?
penned by Chief Claves to all the municipalities that basically covered that, and encouraging them to participate with us in future discussions on putting together a multi-county or a multi-city.
So when did the letter go out?
It either went out this afternoon or going out first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And we'll send out another letter, formal letter,
Because
putting them on notice.
I understand how you feel, because I ask the same questions. What are we going to do? How are we going to filter this out if we go to the 31st of this year, or the 1st of 2018, January 1st, 2018? Where are those animals going to go? And my discussion as come together with all the cities and have a discussion and see if they're going to work with us. We should be able to extend the contracts while they.
We've just said that if they're going to work with us, we're going to extend their contracts.
Okay.
You got an email at 3:21 today with a copy of those letters that are going out to the cities for the chief.
Yep. I don't have any
Well, I
further
didn't get
questions.
that. Thank you very much. Well, I understand how you feel, and I do
You're
have the
Ward 5, you
same
got it.
understanding too about the animals,
The
those us
word that-
working together.
The word that they're going to offer extensions, alleviates that concern I had there.
All right.
And again, just being able to work with them, my main thing was just making sure we weren't slapping the hands of those who could help potentially feed us, so
It
to
wouldn't-
speak, in the future.
It
with
wouldn't
it.
make any sense to cut it, if they're working with us, it would make
And
absolutely
the
no
mayors,
sense.
the
to cut
mayors
them.
of Choctaw and Jones City are personal friends of mine, so I'm sure I'll be getting a phone call.
Super.
So,
Good.
Okay.
And the inverse of what he just said is true. If they're not gonna work with us, we shouldn't continue to work with them.
And it would make no sense, Katie, sorry I didn't finish it, would make absolutely no sense if they're working with us for us to cut them off. No
I
sense.
couldn't agree anymore. It just doesn't have that information on here, and there wasn't anywhere else to get more info. So that's why I wanted to ask those questions, and I appreciate your support on that, Mr. Byrne. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Katie. Any further discussion on this particular item?
Move to approve.
I have a
Second.
motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Next item,
Next item is discussion consideration of
Time
approval.
out, time out. What
I
would you say?
oppose, I oppose for right now on that particular, I oppose.
please let the record show that Councilwoman Allen opposed the last discussion item. Go ahead with the next discussion item.
Discussion consideration of approval of the collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, FOP Lodge Number 127, as negotiated for the fiscal year 2017-2018. Proposed contract is in the agenda, and cover memo summarizes the modifications to the proposed or to the existing contract. Staff recommends approval.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, we move into our new business and public discussion of our agenda. Anyone wants to bring anything to the council? Hearing none, we're hereby adjourned. Now call to order the Midwest City Memorial Hospital Authority agenda. We do have a consent agenda. These items are placed on the consent agenda, so trustees of the the Memorial Hospital Authority, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any motion proposed does not meet with the approval of all trustees or members of the audience wishing to discuss an item, it will be removed and heard in regular order.
Move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. First discussion item.
Discussion consideration of action to reallocate assets, change fund managers, or make changes in the statement of investment policy, guidelines, and objectives. No action is necessary on this evening.
No action is necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, we move into the public discussion of our agenda. Anyone have anything to bring before the hospital authority? Hearing none, we are hereby adjourned. I now call to order the Midwest City Municipal Authority agenda. We do have a consent agenda, and again, these items are placed on the consent agenda, so the trustees of municipal authority by unanimous consent can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any item proposed on the consent agenda does not meet with the approval of all trustees or member of the audience wish to discuss an item, it will be removed and heard in regular order.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, we move into the new business public discussion of our municipal authority agenda. Anybody have anything to bring before the municipal authority? Hearing none, we are hereby adjourned. I call to order the Midwest City Special Utilities Authority. We do have a consent agenda. These items are placed on consent agenda so the trustees of the Utilities Authority, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If any item proposed does not meet with the approval of all trustees or members of the audience wish to discuss an item, it will be removed and heard in regular order.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention. Motion carries. Any further discussion to bring before the Utilities Authority? Hearing none, we are hereby adjourned. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending tonight. I think we just set a record by clearing this agenda. Thank you for being here and have a good night.